Yeah, Futaba, and like Yusuke has some great lines. Futaba also probably has some of the best lines of the party. But yeah, welcome back to more of Persona 5 Royal. This time, we're going to be starting by seeing just a Confidant event, and this is going to help us get points with not just Futaba, but somebody else. We're going to Nakano. This is a new location, too. So this will unlock a new hangout spot. And so we are now looking at our map so we don't get lost. Between ramen bars and a huge shopping complex, it's a joy to explore. Well, you can't really explore it since it's just an invite-only area, but still. I forget if you actually go here in some of the other SMT games. You might go here in Devil Survivor at some point. Also, hi there, Precision F-Strike in a random, forum quote. Yeah, I wonder what those, like, those kind of toys with the eyes, that are above that sort of, gooey-looking thing there. For me, for some reason, they remind me of Buzzsaw Louie from VeggieTales. Yeah, and considering that she's probably talking about the expensive sushi, then holy crap, is that an expensive collector's item. Well, I mean, okay, on the one hand, I was thinking that Futaba might actually be kind of decent at, like, computer customer support. Then I realized she's probably the kind who just yell at people. You idiot, how do you not know what the start menu is? Well, you're half right. He's ex-Yakuza. Oh, don't worry, he's actually a friend of ours. We're well connected.
Yo.
You know, maybe Futaba should talk to Kaoru if she wants to have a normal conversation with someone her age. Now, here is an interesting bit because we're gonna get a dialogue choice that actually plays into my headcanon of this relationship. You can say basically my sister here. And I've heard that there are some people who say that, like, the Joker and Futaba romance, thankfully, like, they're thankful that it doesn't specifically lean into pseudo-incest tropes. And I guess with this event, maybe it does, but I don't like to see it that way. Like again, I personally see them as having a sibling-like relationship. I don't consider them, like, outright, like, siblings, adopted or not. As I've said before, I don't think shipping them is gross or anything. Yeah, that's the place where, and you never get any weapons from there, but that's the place where we, basically, yeah, customize our stuff, and, that's why we shock enemies all the time. Okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, I suppose Iwai does make some really realistic models. I almost wonder if Iwai actually does some, like, realistic military stuff, and he also does some, like, replicas of weapons from fantasy, because I feel like that'd sell kind of well in these areas. And I mean, he's certainly really good at making replica weapons. There's a market for that, for non-realistic, like, non-real-life weapons as well as real-life ones. Of course, a lot of conventions do have very, very, you know, strict rules on cosplay weapons, even fantastical-looking ones, for admittedly very good reasons. So that's why I didn't see Iwai last night, because that will give us the points we need to get his next rank the next time we see him.
Ah, you're back.
It just feels kind of weird with these days just going all the way back home and not really doing much else. But yeah, that took the entire afternoon. Well, it's kind of the opposite, but only we know that. You know, I wouldn't blame people for assuming that he'd fled the country. I mean, if he didn't have the change of heart, that's probably what he might do if he was getting this close to being exposed.
Now then.
Especially considering that he was hiring a hitman. And you know how things usually go when you hire a hitman. You've always got to be careful that you don't end up the next target. But, okay, so today we are supposed to be doing the next Sun rank, but unfortunately it's going to be rank 8 for me and not rank 9, because, as the guide says, because I'm one rank behind on it, which is kind of a bad thing because we are slowly approaching the point where Sun has a deadline, but this should be okay.
Everyone.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of makeup time. Yeah, I remember when, you know, the term working poor was kind of a big buzzword.
Good evening.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who records a lot of these videos, I can tell that sometimes recording, like, sometimes talking for hours does take it out of you. Oh, I actually have a matching persona bonus this time. It's kind of funny how that works out sometimes. Huh. Now, it's kind of funny because as I'm recording this, I'm on the side playing Trails from Zero, and I just, whenever they say diet, I think of Crossbell's diet, which is, it's hard to say whether it's worse than the politics in Persona 5's universe. At the very least, it's just as bad, which is really saying something.
What's wrong?
This area is really interesting for, like, a few reasons. Mainly the fact that in the vanilla version of Persona 5, there was an unused daytime version of this area, but you never got to see it because you never had any Confidant hangouts that took place here and not at night. However, in Royal, there's actually one point where you do have a Confidant rank that takes place here in the daytime, so it's no longer unused.
What?
So yes, there's more of this kind of infighting in politics, even within people's own party circles. I mean, he was gonna decline anyway, but, yeah, Yoshida needs to be declining for the right reasons. Aha, yeah, I had a feeling this was leading that way.
What in the world?
Was he spending taxpayer money on helicopter rides?
I see.
So is this kind of like a test for Yoshida? If he accepts this guy's offer, he'll kind of ruin his own chances of ever getting elected, but he'll clear his name officially for his past mistake, or the past mistake that was blamed on him. Yeah. Exactly, he'll be able to put his past behind him, but also it means that it sacrifices his future. Yeah. Draw attention to them, why? This is actually interesting to me a lot because, the whole thing the Phantom Thieves are doing, like exposing people's crimes and, you know, exposing the evil in society and stuff, it's interesting to see a case in this game where someone's given the opportunity to do that. And yeah, you know, morally, I would like to see the guy who actually did embezzle those funds actually, you know, fingered for that crime. But at the same time, in this case, this guy's offering to reveal that, but with ulterior motives in mind. Like, as he's saying here, it's a political conspiracy. Like, the guy is genuinely guilty, but at the same time, these people only want to take him down to push themselves up. And yeah, like, forcing him to set aside his own beliefs to achieve his dream.
Yes.
Wow, 3 music notes with Yoshida, finally. Like, I feel like it's kind of rare that happens. I wouldn't put it that way exactly. That's a bit of a... We are not casting Marin Karen on you. Yeah, I wonder if there's someone exactly like this guy.
Actually...
This is another reason why I love Yoshida's Confidant so much, because, just spoiling this right now, Yoshida does not have a Mementos mission. So he never gets an obvious hint that Joker is one of the Phantom Thieves. At the same time, Yoshida manages to get pretty close to figuring out that Joker is a Phantom Thief, simply for having just such a good grasp of people that he knows exactly the kind of person that the leader of the Phantom Thieves would be. Awkward silence. Oh yes, it was totally just a joke. But yeah, it reminds me of like how all of these characters in the Batman mythos have like tried to deduce Batman's identity, and then like the one person who actually did in a lot of continuities, I think it's Hugo Strange, he just put together a psychological profile of the person most likely to be Batman and then matched it against candidates until he found out who it was. But it just really shows just how good Yoshida is at knowing people. And oh, this lets us instantly recruit personas sometimes. This would have really helped against all of those things I tried to get in Mementos, those Coronzons. But yeah, Yoshida, I feel, is a very understated character in this game. Like, I know a lot of people like him, but I feel like he's not hugely talked about. And I think he does deserve more analysis. Because his Confidant has some really fascinating aspects to it. And again, at the same time, I still love how he pretty much figures that we're the leader of the Phantom Thieves, again, just from having such a deep understanding of who that kind of person would be. They know they're probably a youth who's experienced injustice in their life. Oh yes, once again, I keep forgetting that Joker told him he wanted to become a Diet member. I still do kind of stand by the headcanon that Joker might get into politics when he's an adult. Ah yes, one glimpse of temptation could be all it takes to spawn a palace. I hope Yoshida is able to get elected one day. Meanwhile, we have another event the next day. And it's Futaba again! So it's a day off on the Monday, however, yeah, this is not going to be a forced hangout. Futaba will just be here as an option. So just like a lot of those hangouts during summer, Futaba missed out on all of those because, again, she was practically in a coma at the time. Now, the weird thing is that the guide that I'm following, the All Confidant Events guide on Game FAQs, says to do this event with Futaba and then immediately reload because I actually need to do Tower Rank 5 instead. So I suppose even the All Confidant Events guide technically isn't All Confidant Events.
Yo,
I mean, those PC mags, I kind of wonder how interesting they are, because they're really, they probably are just, like, hardware stuff, and I'm not really into that. Oh, it makes sense that this will raise proficiency, though.
Hey.
Yeah, I've always been more into software and games and that kind of thing than hardware. Oh yeah, I've seen some pretty curvy keyboards like that. Oh, I'm sure Futaba would utterly destroy that competition. I was just talking about this. I have always not really been into building PCs, but yeah. And apparently need to say of course here.
Huh? What?
I mean, we do have enough proficiency to repair a laptop, so I suppose it's just a jump from that to, kind of, yeah. I've just always been so worried that if I were to try building my own PC that I'd solder things wrong and then I'd just break everything and waste so much money. Well, you see, I put a gigantic ice cube in the middle of the PC, and I had no idea what to do once it melted. I wonder if someone's ever put, like, an actual, like, industrial strength fan, like, in the middle of their, like, PC setup or something. I don't know. You can tell that I'm not really into the build your own PC thing.
Hey.
Well, since I'm reloading anyway, why not make curry? I've never actually showed this one before. Oh yes, we got the skills. And we've got more skills in coffee than curry, but still. I wanted to do curry because, you know, it's Futaba and it's Wakaba's recipe. Huh. I actually have never done this before, so I'm not sure which of these is the best, but considering that Sojiro generally makes the only stuff that Futaba likes, I kind of feel like following him would be the best thing here.
Ooh, this!
Oh, this! This what? This carousel? The face on her model looks kind of weird. It's like, eh. Oh, he's got 2 decent curry. Oh yeah, she must have really enjoyed that, yeah. And we did level up our cooking skills, almost literally. We leveled up our Hierophant rank. The complicated workings of a bowl of curry.
Bye now.
And so that was unfortunately non-canon, so I'll see you back here in a second for Tower rank 5. Okay, we can check Shady Commodities too, and now they're selling the Holy Shroud and Ouija board, which is going to get censored in the 4Kids version, I guess. As well as everything else they were selling previously. So yeah, nothing too major right now, but I still want to buy these anyway. You've spent over 100,000 yen. Your member rank is now Chaos. You can now purchase all of our Chaos tier products, which are far less disliked than our Lore tier products. You've reached our highest member rank, so this is our full lineup. We can't thank you enough. Your order will arrive soon. We understand your excitement, but we ask for your patience. Okay, so now I have unlocked everything there, and that's the main thing that I wanted to do, because there's something pretty major from the highest level of that.
Hey.
Ah, yes, because there must be something sinister that he's doing because he beat you, right? I mean, there's no way he's just a better player than you or anything. Yes, like I was saying, that obviously has to be the reason. I mean, kind of weird that you can beat some cheaters online, but not others.
All right.
Yeah, he can talk about this part of the plot because, yeah, you can only start this Confidant after the Medjed arc. I do like the fact that, like, it can be annoying sometimes when Confidants get plot locked, but it is cool because it does let them discuss certain events of the story. Or, you know, she's just not particularly invested in gaming, as some people of that generation are. Well, okay, yes, the first half of that sentence was fine. The second half of that was, I mean, technically is it a new sentence because there's a ... Probably is. But yeah, that second part, not so much. This guy's actually starting to remind me of a character in the Trails of Cold Steel series, but who they are is kind of a massive spoiler, so I can't really say. Well, yeah, if one strategy doesn't work, just rethink things. It's kind of how I've been going about my playthrough of Fire Emblem Fates Conquest sometimes. Yeah, I do kind of like that aspect to the relationship here. Kind of interesting that the Tower social link, or Confidant in this case, has been a kid in both Persona 4 and Persona 5. Oh, wow, okay, yeah, this ability is insane. I've mentioned this before, but I'm glad I have this. In my opinion, it's kind of the only particularly great ability that he has in Royal. Like, the rest of his are fine, but it's just that, yeah. This is also, from what I've heard, a Confidant that a lot of first-time players don't finish. I can kind of understand why. It opens up fairly late, and, like, it's not like a hugely engaging story arc, I feel, to a lot of players, especially compared to many of the other Confidants in this game. And again, its bonuses, while decent, are not exactly, like, the most amazing in the world, especially in Royal. It's kind of a shame too, because, so I said before that Oya is not my least favorite Confidant, and, I was originally planning on saying that this was my least favorite Confidant. But, I don't know, playing this and recording it, I just can't really bring myself to dislike this Confidant that much. I will say that even if I do think it's my least favorite, I don't think it's bad. That's kind of the thing with Persona 5 in general. It's a lot more consistent in its quality than I feel 4 and 3 were. I feel like 4 and 3 do have higher highs, but Persona 5's lows aren't nearly as low as the low points of Persona 3 and 4. Think you can take him? Oh yes, Xenoblade 2 has forever changed my opinion of those words being used that way. I still can't believe it took me a while to figure out that Mithra was actually saying that and don't forget me in some of her lines in Smash Bros. Because I just spent most of the time hoping that they'd include Morag in Smash Bros. So she could have those as taunts, and then Mithra did.
Ah, you're back.
I had a feeling we'd get a text conversation, but it makes sense this time because tomorrow is the deadline. We have averted Mukoyoshi. In fact, speaking of which, this deadline game over is another one that has a lot of misconceptions associated with it. Many people think the game outright says that she's forced to live with her fiancé and he abuses her, but that's not true. The actual game over for missing this deadline is actually the most disappointing to me, but it's for one very specific reason that I can't talk about until the next arc.
Everything should work out well if Okumura has a change of heart. Assuming it happens like it always does, we should be seeing some results soon.
Assuming it happens like it always does. Oh, Morgana, please stop inviting the dramatic irony. But hey, we have a crossword today. Let's take our mind off of things with that. Co-opted Celtic holiday. Now, this might sound kind of weird out of context, but when you realize it's October and when you see some of the other clues, you can probably tell what this is. See, I thought wizard for this at first, and then it didn't fit. For some reason, I always associate the term magician with males, even though it really shouldn't be. Yeah, Halloween is one of those holidays that Japan has, but mostly just as in... To me, it feels like an excuse to have characters in games and anime in costumes, really. I don't know if Japan, like, really seriously celebrates it. Yeah, conflicting origins. Yeah, the Persona Jack-O-Lantern or Pyro Jack has, yeah, its origin story kind of debated, but I still like the version where Stingy Jack was a farmer who managed to outwit the devil himself. But today is also supposed to be a free night. However, yes, Yoshida's available. Great. Now I can get back on track with his Confidants. I'm glad for that because, as I said before, Yoshida's deadline is actually approaching, so I really do need the next rank up of this.
Everyone.
And yes, my availability today is great. And I even have a matching persona too, just like last time, even though it means absolutely nothing. It's actually kind of interesting because I feel like someone you're playing blind wouldn't know that, so they probably would bring a matching persona to this. There's nothing really in the game that tells you the way that these automatic rank up confidants work. But 3, 4, and 5 have all had them. The general pattern is they usually are only available on very limited days of the week, often just Sundays, or in this case also Mondays sometimes. So, like, you can kind of tell which confidants are going to be like that.
I see.
Well, that's kind of like most people in town right now.
Very well. Yes. Everyone. I. The most important thing is... I... However... Yes.
I mean, at this point, it would probably just look like a political publicity stunt if he pulled that out now. Probably wisest to hold off on that. Oh, well, I mean, at least you got through to him. Yeah, so this is actually bringing up some interesting questions about what the whole change of heart thing could actually be a metaphor for, because a lot of people say that, you know, yeah, that the whole Phantom Thieves thing is essentially brainwashing, and there's a lot of arguments over how well the game handles this, but at the same time, like, everything in Persona is rooted in psychology, and I kind of feel like, in a sense, the change of heart is really just trying to encourage somebody to reflect on their actions, and, yeah, take responsibility for what they've done. Which is something that people have done in this game without needing to have the Phantom Thieves enter their palaces, or mementos or anything. Like Yoshida, he's someone who's been able to reflect on his past. Also get to hear Sunset Bridge for this, which is amazing. I love that song. For some reason, like, it took me a while to, like, look up any of the names of, like, I've said this before, the non-battle or dungeon themes in Persona 5, but now it is the 11th, and that means it's time to finally find out what's gonna happen. Well, that's the same
Guess
as
Okumura finally had his change of heart.
Morgana voice acting, but no, that's the same as a lot of the others.
That has to at least lift some of the burden on Haru's shoulders.
Hey, for real, with an exclamation mark question mark after it. Yeah, if he's gonna confess everything, I guess we can have, an Okumura confession watch party. Just something that I feel like a lot of people in this city are going to be having anyway, since most people were rooting for him to have a change of heart. Well, you were there in one of our Confidant ranks. This should be fine for you. Yes, make sure you come in through the front entrance, not the back entrance. That's only open to joke. I'm sorry.
Wait, where's Yusuke? If he's still asleep at this point, he's definitely going to be late for school.
Maybe he's just had a fit of inspiration and is painting like a, maybe he's painting something based on the palace we were just in. Oh yes, we'll have no problems if we've been studying regularly, but however, we already, removed our need to ever study again thanks to eating a burger. What, you mean like a no such thing as bad publicity thing? Yeah, so I felt for sure that Maruki would be the one giving this class question, but it's not him. I was wrong about that in the past, too. This is something that I've actually, I've seen this question in real life. Basically, anybody who studied linguistics probably recognizes this. So, these two shapes. People were asked to name one Borba and the other Kiki. Which name was most commonly ascribed to shape B? And that would be Borba.
This is it.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is interesting because, basically, these answers are mostly the same regardless of what culture or language background the participants come from. Universally, a lot of human languages have this association with certain sounds towards certain, images or shapes. It is kind of fascinating, though whenever I see the term Kiki, I think of, Keyleth from Critical Role. But yeah, things like hard K sounds, they're associated with, sharp images. Yeah, Big Bang Burger is, alliteration, all of them, have B's. Specifically, it's all B sounds, even having the same letter is Nora's, alliteration. I think apparently, if it's a vowel, it's assonance, not alliteration. This is, an embarrassment for me as someone who, majored in English, but, yeah, it's been a while since I studied that stuff.
All right, that's it for today.
It's finally lunchtime. Man, I'm really in the mood for some bread today.
Bread this time? Not sushi, really?
Hey, can I speak with you for a moment? So about Dr. Maruki's counseling, you've already gone to see him, right?
Yes, quite a lot, and it's also given us unlimited power.
I see. That's good then. I'm sure you're aware, but Dr. Maruki's term here will be ending pretty soon. The higher-ups told me to make sure you've received adequate counseling.
Yeah, after all he's been through, he probably needs even more.
Be sure to visit him so you don't bring any unwanted attention to yourself, okay?
And that's not exactly the right reason, but I guess this kind of stigma is still around.
Counseling, eh?
Huh, you rarely see Morgana poke his head out from under the desk like that.
But anyway, let's go get lunch.
So this right here is basically the game hammering it in that Maruki's Confidant has a deadline and you only have almost exactly a month to finish it off by now. So if you haven't been working on it, now is the right time.
Bring on the bread.
Yeah, because Persona 3 and 4 never really warned you much about its social links that were on deadline, so I'm glad they work in an in-universe reason to have a deadline for this one.
So nice to see you. I've been doing quite well.
Are you also about to eat lunch, Senpai? If it's alright with you, would you mind eating together?
We kind of already have plans with friends later, but sure.
Ah, how nice to see you two together.
Yes, how nice to see, us together with both of the new Royal Confidants. Well, I mean, Akechi's not here, and he's technically a new Royal Confidant.
Oh, would you like to join us for lunch, Dr. Maruki? We were just discussing eating together.
Are you sure? Well, maybe I will tag along then. Is that your lunch, Yoshizawa-san?
We've seen her eat more than that, actually.
That doesn't really...
I have to eat this much to stay active. I always burn through everything I eat.
And she's still so thin after it all.
From my point of view, it's your two lunches that are the issue here.
From my point of view, your lunches are evil.
If you're going to strengthen your body, you have to eat right. You should really work on your diets.
Touche. And you're right, yours does look nutritious. You know, you seem to be giving off a different vibe lately.
Yes, I was able to put my problems in the past and move on.
I awakened to a persona isn't exactly like clinical evidence of a psychological breakthrough you can use in real life, so yeah, let's put it this way.
Ah, so that's what it is. You don't seem to be overexerting yourself either.
I'm sorry I'd worried you.
Oh, not at all. It's wonderful to hear how you've been. I must admit, I'm a bit surprised. If you don't mind my asking, was there some kind of reason for this breakthrough?
Although he already suspects something's up.
Well, it's all thanks to him and his acquaintances.
And by acquaintances, she mostly just means the cat.
I suppose you could say they gave me a reason to rethink things. Or more like, a reason to stand up to my problems.
That reason being physically embodied and able to take down shadows is kind of inconsequential. Still a reason.
Isn't that right, Senpai?
Stand up to your problems, eh? You've grown to be very strong, Yoshizawa-san.
Mm-hmm. I'm totally over it now. Sorry for talking so much. Why don't we focus on our lunches? Thanks for the food! Oh, I forgot. I have PE next. I should get going. Please excuse me.
I kind of wonder if she gets extra PE periods or something.
Yoshizawa-san really does seem to have found her footing. She seemed absolutely tormented about her situation just the other day.
Yeah, last time you saw her, she was in the middle of crippling depression.
I have to say, this drastic change has really knocked me for a loop. Perhaps the Phantom Thieves changed her heart?
Something like that.
I was just joking.
I was too.
Looks like time's up. You should head back to class as well. See you around.
And, yeah, see you around a lot more since we need to finish your Confidant soon. But yes, now we're back into non-royal territory. As far as, like, the royal added scenes to the main story goes, I think that one's fine. I don't quite understand what is going on, but sure, it's kind of like Yusuke's general mood in a lot of these situations. Yeah, I feel like Haru's house is probably surrounded by reporters right now. Actually, we did kind of know about the flower bed. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how in this case transplanting is literal. Kind of wonder if that's where the term comes from.
So you're the one who grew these, Senpai?
You can just call me Haru.
And we have seen these pretty much all game, these styrofoam boxes.
The seasons are changing soon, so I thought it'd be nice for the plants to change as well.
However, the season's changing isn't accompanied by an awesome school theme of the same name.
This time, it's a Yusuke Kitagawa production.
All I did was add some, how do I put it? Aesthetic simplicity by balancing the color placement. Furthermore, Haru chose the flowers herself. It will surely be a great bed no matter the arrangement.
I'm looking forward to it. Why don't we plant you, Mona?
Where did that come from?
Weren't you a shut-in until just recently? You'd better photosynthesize while you're here.
Well, I mean, admittedly, getting some sun is pretty good for vitamin D.
Well, let's get started.
Perhaps the Snapdragon should go 2 more millimeters to the left.
I'm surprised Yusuke isn't talking in micrometers, but I'm not surprised that Futaba's just on her laptop right now.
That's not gonna make a difference.
Hey, you know how we're thinking of the school festival as our celebration party? Anyone else think we should have a real celebration on top of that?
I must agree. It would be not only a celebration, but a welcoming as well. I'd like to do something among ourselves.
Let's do it then. A joint party to celebrate and to welcome Haru.
Oh, you don't have to do that. The school festival is more than enough.
How is everyone else supposed to get excited if the star of the party's not into it?
Well then, how about a night party?
Most of ours have been at night so far, but let's not tell her that.
At Destinyland.
Okay, no wait, that's much better.
By Destinyland, do you mean that Kingdom of Dreams?
That owns everything now?
It would be a bit late, but there are some plans that allow us to rent out the park for the night.
So, okay then, I decided to do some research when preparing for this playthrough to figure out if actually you could do this with the real Disneyland. The short answer is they would never allow this because the sheer amount of money they'd have to charge in order to make up how much they'd lose on, like, attendance for the one day would just make it completely unaffordable even by the richest of people. But apparently they do let you rent out individual rides or areas of the park for like $50,000 for 4 hours.
The entire park? You're talking about the Destinyland, right?
Didn't you say you'd like to do something amongst ourselves?
I did, but
Hold on, I'll go check.
She really thinks like a celebrity.
The heck's she gonna check?
Guys, it looks like it will work.
By the way, my family has enough money to buy the entire Earth.
We're really gonna have it at Destinyland? Not like one of the restaurants, but the entire park?
Even just for one night, the price is insane. Oh, that won't be a problem. We had originally booked it for a company party, then had to call it off because of the scandal.
Oh, okay, so in this case, we're just, making sure that company money goes to good, purposes, yeah.
We'd barely get anything back if we cancel the reservation, so why not take advantage of it?
wouldn't that be oddly conspicuous though?
Yeah, true. I mean, people would know if, like, just a bunch of high schoolers rented out all of Disneyland for one day, even if one of them was ridiculously rich. And again, the fact that she's connected to Okumura, it looks a little suspicious.
It's still officially under the company's name. We needn't worry.
Okay, that's probably better, though.
In that case, let's do this.
Let's just make sure we're not photographed very much while we're in there.
We'll just celebrate twice as hard today.
I'm sorry for disrupting everyone. You did come to help me after all. Well, let's get back to it.
So, seriously, how much does it cost? For real?
I love how they just straight up use the generic for real voice clip for that. And yet it fits so perfectly.
That was delicious.
The food was arranged on my plate as though it were paint on a canvas.
I will admit, I never actually went to the restaurants the one time I was at Disneyland.
The staff brought out this table and food just for us, huh?
I thought if we were going to dine together, it would be better to do it somewhere with a view.
Or rather, the only Destinyland view that you get in this game, but still, it's pretty impressive.
The VIP life is incredible! Not that I'd expect anything else from a private rental.
There really is no one else here.
Which means no gigantic queues for the bathrooms.
We are the rulers of the Kingdom of Dreams.
Is this lighting just for our sake as well?
That's right.
It's beautiful.
I feel so sorry for all of the staff who have to put on all of this, including the fireworks show, just for a group of teenagers.
It's not as beautiful as you. That's the kind of stuff couples say, right?
Almost anyone would fall for that line in front of a site like this.
Almost anyone, huh? Be careful what you say.
Lady An, this view is not as beautiful as...
Come on, you guys are getting way too excited about this stuff.
You say that like you're not tapping into your inner child too, Ryuji.
Even the one time that it was a dead certainty, Morgana still fails.
This is just because Futaba kept nagging me to put him on.
I did not.
You said something like that.
That's a good way of putting it. I wonder if that has to do with where we are.
You mean like just fighting shadows, or you mean in general? I mean, I suppose Ryuji and Morgana working out their differences kind of made things better with them. Especially in Strikers.
My, this is so heartwarming.
Honestly, I would have liked to see the parade as well. But given how sudden the request was, they couldn't get enough staff together to do it.
I'm just picturing some of the staff who normally do the parade being just reacting. You want us to what?
Perhaps that will have to wait until next time.
Either way, this party's totally the best one so far. It's freaking amazing.
You know what, actually though, maybe it would be more relaxing for the staff to do this with everything being so empty, and they'd probably get paid super overtime for it too.
I'm glad to see you're enjoying it.
Be careful, Haru. You've shown these guys what luxury means. This'll really raise the bar for our next celebration party.
So basically, if things keep escalating, our next celebration party is going to be like on a space station or something.
You're already talking about our next party? Don't you think that's somewhat premature?
And that party will be for me. Still, how do I put this? I met Mona-chan. I got to know you all. Isn't everything going a little too perfectly?
Yeah, even you're realizing that.
It's actually a bit frightening.
You worry too much.
I must just be overly cautious because of my circumstances up till recently. I'm sorry for bringing it up.
Hey, isn't it almost time? You know, for the press conference?
Oh, perfect timing.
Feel like you should have got like a big screen TV in to watch this rather than just on your phones. It feels like a bit of a waste.
Father.
Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to gather here. Today, I'd like to elaborate upon the whole truth behind my company's labor situation. How my employees were forced to work under severe conditions. How lax we were with sanitation. And how my corporation acted as a whole to cover up every facet of this scandal. For all of this, I wholeheartedly apologize.
So are you saying all of this was done under your orders?
Yes, I am solely responsible.
We heard that dozens of your employees were forced to resign due to mysterious illness. Furthermore, these happened to be officials who stood against your proposal for overseas expansion. The same thing also happened to executives at competing companies who were looking to expand abroad. Is all of this true?
Yes.
Was it all coincidence? We'd like some answers.
About that. I have a critical piece of information to announce here today.
Here it comes. Okumura is going to say who's really behind the mental shutdowns.
I...
Okumura-san?
So, just something about my history with this game. I actually managed to catch that moment in a live stream shortly after this game came out in Japan. So yeah, I kind of expected something bad would happen. I was not expecting it to be that horrifying. And, yeah, the entry on the TV Tropes Nightmare Fuel page for that moment, I'm actually the one who originally added that.
Father? Why did he collapse?
That didn't look right at all. Don't tell me.
Wait. Okay. So, somebody just had black ooze coming out of their blank eyes, just like groaning like a zombie, and all you have to say is that didn't look right at all. You think?
Mona-chan, what's going on? No, that's impossible. You're right. We followed all the same steps. We made sure we just took the treasure, too. I should call home.
This isn't our fault, is it? It's been okay all 4 times so far, ever since Kamoshida.
If we let the shadow live, the real person won't undergo mental shutdown, right?
Yeah, we did, but somebody else didn't.
That's how it should work.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
This is a case where I think dramatic irony works quite well because, of course, we the players know that they're not at fault for this. But they don't know that. Imagine how they must feel right now.
What's wrong?
This is the same. I remember now. It's just like what happened to my mom.
So this is the moment when mental shutdown occurs.
But why did they target Okumura-san?
Well, you know how it goes with conspiracies like this. The moment that somebody is about to reveal who's behind everything, they immediately get murdered.
Damn it! What the hell's going on here?
In fact, exactly the same thing happens to Kobayakawa.
I have to go. I'll talk to the staff before I leave. Feel free to take your time.
Haru!
This ain't our fault, right?
I'd like to think so.
Some welcoming party, huh?
I'll get in contact with Haru later. But for today, I think we should all return home.
I almost feel like somebody should stay with Futaba tonight.
It's been a while. What are you watching?
That's a live stream of somebody being murdered!
This is just a hypothesis, but perhaps Okumura was bitten by his lapdog.
Are you implying that the Phantom Thieves triggered a sudden mental shutdown on Okumura?
No, it's more like Okumura was the lapdog, and he was put down.
There might have been a falling out of sorts, so the Phantom Thieves abandoned a useless employer. And to cover their tracks, they dealt with Okumura.
I hate to bring this up, but I'm actually here about that.
Did you find any evidence?
No.
Actually, there's a chance that the party behind these aren't the Phantom Thieves, but someone else.
Akechi's finally talking sense for once? Has our confidant actually made him turn his opinion around?
How do you mean? You were suspecting the Phantom Thieves as well.
It is still hypothetical at this point, but I don't want to rule it out.
We're searching the Okumura residence tomorrow. Same with Shujin and its principal. We will find evidence on this, no matter what it takes. By the way, I wanted to ask you something.
Yes?
You haven't looked at my laptop or taken files from it without my permission, have you?
That's quite out of the blue.
There were traces that someone transferred data from it. It was only a small error pop-up, but I noticed it immediately after I had that argument with you last month.
And that's why you suspect me? Oh, please, give me a break.
Are you saying you didn't?
Saya suspecting people based on very, very circumstantial coincidences. It's just kind of the direction she's going down right now.
As a detective myself, I honor the value of information, as well as the effort invested in it. I take pride in what I do. I thought you, of all people, would understand such values, Sai-san.
I apologize. But then, who stole my data? I let my guard down. They're mine. I'm the one who will catch them.
Okay, so not only did that happen, but Cyan knows that somebody took data from her laptop, and it's only a matter of time before she finds out who. And some of the comments that were going over the screen at that point were a parody of Nico Nico Dorga. While a few of them said so scary, there was one that was just a bunch of W's, which in Japanese internet slang, that's the equivalent of lol, because it's short for waro, which is Japanese for laughter. Yes, cardiac arrest involving leaking black liquid out of your eyes. Yeah, possibly the worst part about this is that, as awful as that looked, the death wasn't even instantaneous. I mean, you know, Kobayakawa at least came quickly.
It should have been okay. It should have been.
What else should I be? Please don't take off my mask. Revealing dark.
From back in those scenes, though, it was implied that Arn did vaguely notice that someone else was there, but we just had to leave because the place was blowing up.
Damn it, this doesn't make any sense. Why he suffered a mental shutdown is one thing, but what are we supposed to do from here on out?
Because, I mean, even if we find out that we weren't the ones who did this, the general public now thinks the Phantom Thieves performed a vigilante execution.
No. Hey.
I like to check everything in these situations because Morgana does seem to have different comments for all of them, which is a pretty nice touch, honestly. And of course, yeah, this is a go-to-bed night, but it makes perfect sense. I knew it. You're gonna say, I warned you, aren't you?
On your feet, inmate. Our master has an important matter to discuss with you. Heed his words well.
First, I'd like to congratulate you for expelling the one proud of their greed.
Expelling, huh? Yes, expelling from life.
Or so I'd like to say, but something odd seems to have happened. I know this, of course.
But of course, we can't exactly get you to testify.
However, what of the general public?
And that's exactly what I was worried about.
It seems a contingency has occurred. At this rate, your rehabilitation cannot be completed, though I doubt that will be the case. I truly look forward to seeing how you overcome this predicament.
I mean, we've got out of, situations where everyone hated us before, but now it's on a whole new level. But I suppose this is nothing that the Phantom Thieves can't overcome.
Alright.
Hopefully.
We shall meet again.
Oh yes, of course we will, because,
Time's up, inmate. Hurry up and return to your world.
we actually need to fuse and stuff. Would be terrible if we lost access to the Velvet Room entirely.
Is that true?
Yeah, that wasn't just a heart attack.
Listen this time, okay?
Yeah, I highly doubt anyone's going to be able to focus on class right now. Yeah, the TV had to straight up pull a nice boat on the whole thing there. Also, yes, we do indeed have exams coming up. Which sucks, but what can you do? Oh, great, things go from bad to worse. Well, Haru. Well, yeah, I feel like she's going to be absent for quite some time. Well, we know from Sire that they're gonna try and investigate, the principal. So this means no Confidants today at all. We're kind of back in a stretch of plot, though unlike, Summer...
We haven't found anything useful as evidence.
This one only lasts until the 14th.
I see.
We're hoping to find something more than the calling card, too.
We've confirmed the victim's connection to the Phantom Thieves, at least. Thank you for your cooperation.
Speaking? Huh? They found a calling card in the principal's office, too.
Yes. I'm sorry to ask again, but your father hadn't said anything about the Phantom Thieves, correct?
That's right.
Please contact me if something catches your attention. It doesn't matter how trivial it seems. You don't have to force yourself, though. Just anything that comes to mind.
The principal? No one told me about that.
Yeah, that one was definitely not us.
So basically, your group didn't go after Okumura's life. And even the death of Shujin's principal, who we found a calling card for, was the work of another. You don't sound like you're lying. If you wanted to deceive me, you could have easily woven up a much simpler lie than this metaverse.
Yeah, this is that whole classic Ace Attorney thing where the witness is telling a story so ridiculous that it can't possibly be a lie.
Moreover, your account coincides with my own investigation. Is that even possible if it were made up? And I hate to admit, but with my line of work, I know a false testimony when I hear one.
And yeah, again, Sire being a prosecutor,
Still, if you set your sights on Okumura based on my intel, it'd be before his name was even ranked. You could have ignored him and targeted some other famous person. Why would you go so far as to further investigate and pursue this criminal?
Now this is interesting because there are multiple ways that you can decide to answer for Joker here, and they're all valid. Because you could say that it was because of Haru, but you could also say that it was in general because of Okumura and his exploitation of the workers. That's generally the direction that I prefer to go with.
Simple enough. There's still no proof that another suspect exists. That said, it's safe enough to say that you aren't the murdering type.
Yeah, at least a quick talk is sorting that out.
All right.
But with the subsequent deaths of Okumura and Shujin's principal, the public's opinion changed. Pressed to prove your innocence, your next objective was... What's the matter? Is it a side effect? What in the world did the police inject into you? Hey, can you hear me? You need to stay focused! Don't scare me like that. If what you're saying is true, you must tell your side of the story to the end. We'll both be in trouble if your testimony becomes unreliable. Well then, let's move on. At last we arrive at your most recent crime. You know what I mean, don't you? This calling card was delivered to your latest target, the one you had decided would prove your innocence. It was addressed to Sae Nijima, myself. Now, explain everything to me.
With the way things were going, she was bound to be a target eventually. But turns out she was the last one they targeted before everything went downhill.